Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm not going to walk in this time. I'm just going to go for it. I'll walk in. It's funny. No, I'm not. Oh, no. I don't know. Hi. This is my tour on haunted hotels. We will be going over 5 hotels and the history behind them. I will try not to talk about the history for too long, but I make no promises. So yeah, get ready for that. Hi, this is my tour on haunted hotels. We will be going over 5 hotels and the history behind them. I will try not to talk about the history for too long, but I make no promises. So yeah, get ready for that. So the first hotel is going to be the Mount Washington. It is in New Hampshire. It was built in 1902 by Joseph Stineke and Carolyn Stineke. It is this big, massive, white Renaissance red roof hotel. It was extremely successful among the rich class because of how big it is and everything that it had. Some crazy things that it had, actually, which is not normal for hotels, would be a railroad, its own electrical and gas power plant to run the whole hotel, its own printing press for its own newspapers that it would print out every single morning and hand deliver them to people, and then also a doctor and 2 nurses specifically for the hotel. It was massive. Joseph died after after a year of it being built, and he gave it to his wife, Carolyn. And she ran it for 3 decades until she died in 1936. So that's a long time. She is the main ghost on the property. She's also called the Princess by staff and by everyone. The main ghost is going to be Carolyn Foster, aka the Princess. She's known as the Princess because after her husband died, she remarried a prince of France. Good for her, honestly. I mean, I wish. But she never got over him. She never got over Joseph. So she would return to the hotel every summer and stay in the room 314. It's actually her room right here. This is also the bed where she died. They kept the bed. That's really weird. But in 314, they would see lights flicker, bathtubs would fill up on their own, they would see flowery perfume, and she's often spotted in the hallways near 314. Now, this is not a photo I have taken. I have been here, and I actually saw her walk down this hallway. It scared the crap out of me as a kid, but I was there, and I saw her. She's also spotted up on the balcony. This balcony used to be open, and when she was alive, she would stand on top of it and watch as guests would come in. And if she saw someone better dressed than her, she'd get real mad, and she would go back to her room, change, and then come back out and go back to standing on the balcony. She's so real for that. And that's why she's called the Princess. So, yeah, she's a princess. So not only that, there's also places like in the ballroom, which is down here. It's absolutely huge, which just reinstates the massiveness of this hotel. Like, it's so big. The back of it has a giant hill that leads into all kinds of things. You get lost in here really easily, which I think really adds to the scariness of just the place in general. So in the ballroom, people will hear music playing by itself. I don't know. And they also see a woman in a hoop skirt playing with curtains in the ballroom. So at night, they go around and close all the curtains, and an employee was doing their job. Good for them. And that night, she apparently saw a woman in a hoop skirt hide behind the curtains. I lost my mind, but it is not confirmed that it is the Princess. But I would hope it's not, because I guarantee if they were better dressed than her, she'd have a problem with it. So on their website, there is no mention of ghosts. They've actually just rebranded to the Omni Mount Washington Hotel. It's a part of a larger brand. And that brand basically just wiped the internet of their website, the old website, which had information about Carolyn, which you suck for that. And it was investigated by the ghost hunters, but there's no actual ghost tours offered. Now the staff is very hype about her. They love her. They're like, oh, women! So they will often, if you ask, they will tell you ghost stories about them. Because I did ask, I went, is this place haunted? And they said, oh yeah. Yes, it is. And that's the same time I saw her walk down a hallway. I saw her lace, and I followed her, and then she disappeared. It changed me as a person. Overall, I gave this a ghost score of 0 out of 10 because there's no mention of any ghost on their website at all throughout their building. Due to Omni, I have a problem with you. You got rid of my girl. Other than that, though, amazing and fantastic. Y'all should visit here. And that's it. Alright. Next hotel on the list is Hotel Colorado. Guess what state it's in? Colorado. It's around 125 years old. It was built by Walter DeVroe, who was a silver baron and one of the first earliest settlers of Glenwood Springs, Colorado. It has a natural hot spring, pictured here. They say it heals people. I don't know. I used to live here, been to this hotel. All I know is that it smells really gross, straight up like rotten eggs. It's disgusting, but maybe it'll heal your tuberculosis. I don't know. So, it was very attractive to the wealthy, very attractive to the rich and wealthy, due to its size and its beautiful surroundings. And at one point, it was turned into a United States Navy hospital. Around 1943 to 1946, it had 6,500 patients, and it also had a prison, which the prison was down in the basement next to the morgue, which is really gross, and they would fit up to 8 prisoners in a cell, which was like 5 by 7 feet. So y'all go be squished. Next to dead bodies. And it's also freezing cold in there. It's not fun. It's not fun. But it's also very popular with a lot of famous people. We have on the list President William Howard Taft. He went and he came in September and he refused to bathe in the hot springs because he didn't want to bathe in public. This is funny because he died in a bathtub. So his body was found in a bathtub, technically bathing in public. What can I say? Unsinkable Molly Brown also went. She survived the Titanic. Go boss. Go boss, Slay, boots house down. Imagine surviving a world tragedy. Amazing. And then we have President Theodore Roosevelt. This is a picture of him riding a moose. I don't know if you know anything about a moose, but they're dangerous and they'll kill you, and they can hold their breath for a long time and run at high speed. So this is a crazy moment for him. He's insane. He also stayed here for like a whole long time. This was one of his favorite places to go, and he went on a bear hunt here. And during that bear hunt, when he finally killed the bear after like 3 days, they made the teddy bear here. So the first ever teddy bear was made here because of the guy riding the moose. Say thank you, President Teddy Roosevelt. Godspeed. Thank you. So then the problem people show up. So Diamond Jack also stayed here. I don't know if you can see the size of his hat, but it's absolutely massive. He was also a criminal. So what's real criminal is the size of his big hat. Oh my god. It's like this tall. So he came a lot in the roaring 20s, and it became like a really big hot spot for gangsters and like just problem people. Because of that, it kind of became kind of a bad place, which probably led to all of the problems here. You'll see why they led to problems, because people died, shockingly. It's not shocking, this is a haunted hotel tour. So to get into the actual haunting, we have a lot of stuff going on in the Tower Suite, which is going to be about right here. People say a couple spent the night there, and apparently the husband got really sick, and a mysterious woman apparently came to keep closing the window because the wife was trying to let in fresh air. So this random woman kept coming in to close the window, and apparently the staff was like, no one here would do that. So they say that's a ghost. And then there's the basement, which, as I mentioned, was a morgue and a jail. So the morgue was for when the dead soldiers of the Navy, when it was a Navy hospital. So these guys, yeah, they're looking real happy right here. They ended up in the morgue or jail, or they happily recovered and went back to war. I don't think any of them are a good option, but apparently the lights flicker a lot down there. So that's, oh my god, what's happening? Anyway, this is also a picture of the morgue. This is the hallway that leads into the morgue. Again, I don't know if you can fully grasp the concept of it. It's dark, it's scary, and I hate it, and it's cold. It's cold, it's freezing cold. I've been here. It's freezing cold. As a child, I used to come here, and I played with said dead soldiers. I feel like that explains enough about my childhood, but also, remember when I said that there was bad people here? Well, they killed people. Hey, Bobby, which was a nurse during the time that the Navy was there, was killed by an officer at the hotel. Now, this isn't what she really looks like, but this is what she would have. This is her vibe. This is her vibe, and her vibe was shot to death in the main lobby, and possibly killed by a jealous lover. It's not really confirmed, but that's speculation. You know how ghost stories are. They love a woman in love, and then they love to kill her. A lot of the times in the hallways, they would smell cigar smoke, which they would attribute to Walter. Apparently, the guy liked to smoke. So, yeah. So, going on to the ghost score, as you can see, I gave it a 1 out of 10 because on their website, all they talk about is everything you can do in Colorado, which is a lot. It's a sportsman's paradise type deal, but there's no mention of ghosts. However, as a local, as someone who used to live literally in Glenwood Springs, the locals eat this place up. They are constantly saying it's haunted. Everyone who goes there, they're going for the haunts, or they're going for the either healing or not healing stinky hot spring. I gave it a 1 simply because of the locals saying how haunted this place is. I would have given it higher if their website did not keep trying to promote to me sledding. I'm not doing it. So yeah, this is the Hotel Colorado. Thank you so much. I gotta turn on. I gotta freaking oatmeal pie. Then I hit the. What? Okay. Oh. So our third hotel is going to be the Hawthorne Hotel located in Salem. So because it's in Salem, I'm sure you can guess. Hey, Salem witch trials. So the Salem witch trials lasted from February 1692 to May 1693. So the Puritans believed people were working with the devil and doing witchcraft, which led to a bunch of people dying. The first victim was Bridget Bishop. 18 people followed, and then 26 people died in Salem in total due to either hanging, they died in jail, or one guy was crushed to death by stone. Very brutal time. But after all this happened, the town became normal, somewhat, and then people started moving in, which led to the need to build a building for people to stay. So before the Hawthorne, it was the Franklin Building, built by Samuel McIntyre in 1809. He basically was like, I want to build a building for everyone, which is really different from the past two that we've talked about, because the other two were distinctly marketed against, poor people, because it was built by rich people. Now, this guy was like, hey, let's bring in the poor people. Let's just bring in everyone. This is going to be a great effort for everyone. And then it wasn't, because it then became like a really rich residential apartment area surrounded by like shops. So there goes, as you can see on this thing, there's 3 different fires. Hey, all these fires happen back to back. And then a 4th one happens again. So, first fire happens in 1845, and then another one happens in 1859. Now, at this point, the building still stands. That's crazy. And then at 1960, it's the last fire, and then it burned down. But in 1864, it was rebuilt. And that's when the Salem Marine Society moved in. And they were like, hey, we live here, this is our headquarters, we're vibing here, we love it here, yay. And then, in 1921, the locals, 1,100 of them came, and they were like, we want to build a hotel right where the Marine Society is. And the sailors were like, nah, that's our home and our little base, you can't take that. And they were like, yes, we can. Y'all suck. And they're like, no. They eventually set their differences aside and were like, okay, well, you can still use it as a headquarters, I guess. But we'll just put you at the very, very top of the hotel. So, like, the top floor is the Marine Society, like, headquarters. And it's this. And it's an exact replica of a cabin from a boat. So, that's really cool. Apparently it's haunted. I don't know. But yeah. Okay. So the hotel is actually named after this guy, Nathaniel Hawthorne, who was a writer. Fun fact, it's not his house. He actually just lived down the road. But they were like, oh my god, we love him so much because of his little moody writings, which was exactly like Edgar Allan Poe. He is Edgar Allan Poe in another life, and you cannot change my mind on that. But they wrote the same thing. They kind of look similar. They both had wacky mustaches. And they were like, hey, we love you so much, sir. We're going to name a hotel after you. And then, we're going to film, this is like way later, like in the, I don't know, way later. They ended up filming a show here called Bewitched. I've never seen it. If you have seen it, great. I haven't, so, Bewitched was filmed here in this hotel, and this is actually where a very famous elevator scene happened. Pictured here, I do not know the context. Apparently they missed each other on an elevator, which I feel like is very dramatic in the moment, but I don't know. So yeah, this hotel is very, very famous. They have a lot, it's a busy place. It's very busy. They got a lot going on here, from murder to sailors to creepy white writer guys to elevator scenes. I don't know. But it is in fact haunted, allegedly. Especially, due to all the fires, because guess what? In 1997, we have another fire. Not pictured here, but there's another fire. This time it was while a Halloween ball was going on, so you can about imagine how people really freaked out. They were like, Satan! But there was no damage, and it was in the basement, so no one got hurt. So everything's good. So there's been a lot going on here in the sense of ghost-wise. Specifically, the ghost hunters came to the Hawthorns in 2007. That's great, except they lied on their show, straight up. About to freaking myth bust these guys. They say that Bridget Bishop's apple orchard was on the same land that the Hawthorne was built on. That's not even remotely true. Where they got this information, I genuinely don't know. And it's still believed to this day, even though historians have come out and been like, hey, this actually didn't happen. It actually was nowhere near here at all. But hey, maybe I'm just crazy. I'm not. I'm right. They're wrong. So there are some strange happenings in the hotel itself. in the helm up on the top floor. It's said that they say that there's a helm in here and it can move. They say it moves back and forth. I don't know. They say it's the sailors moving it. I would hope so. They're the only ones really qualified to move it. I don't know. Maybe it's just a ghost who wandered off the street moving it. I don't know. And then a lot of times, also on the top floor, there's people's stuff is moved around. Some claim they see the murder victims of the Salem trials, which makes sense because it is in Salem, kind of in a big center area. It's literally smack dab in the middle of it all. But I feel like that's people believing what they want to see. And people claim that the fires created a type of vortex that draws spirits to it. I've never heard of that before. I don't know why fires would, cause a vortex, because that's not what a vortex is. What do I know? People also hear water faucets turning off, and they hear toilets flushing by themselves. Apparently, a lady claims that she was staying with her son at said hotel, and then woke up in the middle of the night and found him cowering in a corner because the kid apparently heard a disembodied baby crying, which that's really scary. That's really scary. I think I'd also cower in a corner. Kid is real. So in room 325 and room 612, they're the most active. Apparently people say phantoms grab the sheets, or they just apparently get grabbed on their head, which is really random. Specifically in 612, people often report a ghostly woman walking around and then stopping at a mirror and then checking herself out. Real. I mean, if I'm a ghost, I gotta be sure I look good before I start spooking, you know? She's real for that. That's all I'm saying. So I have in fact stayed here at this place. I did visit it, not during Halloween or anything like that, just on a family vacation. Crazy family vacation. But I did go. And I stayed, I think it was the 3rd floor. So I was on the floor with 325. It was actually right down the hall from me. And I'm just going to say it. I don't feel it's haunted whatsoever. Nothing happened. The rooms are really weird, and I really think the reason why stuff starts flushing by itself and water turns on by itself, because the plumbing sucks there. The plumbing sucks. Hey, Hawthorne, fix your plumbing, okay? I know you got a theme of, witch trials and things. Fix the plumbing. I'm not going to get into it. I've already gotten into it. Get in there. The only really scary thing that happened here was down at the Witch Museum, which is great. Go visit. And I saw a man get crushed to death by stones because they were reenacting the Salem witch trials. So that was great. Also, shout out to the cookie place down the street. Love that. This place has a ghost score out of a 3 out of 10 because it does kind of talk a little bit about, ghosts. It doesn't have tours specifically of the Hawthorne, but the Hawthorne is on a lot of tours of Salem, where frequently the myth of Bridget's freaking apples is brought up. No apples. Say it with me. No apples. There's no apple orchard anywhere near here. Stop playing. God. But what they do really like to hype up is obviously the Salem witch trials, which is fine. That's fine. It was a great history. It's not a great historical. It got that. It was a very big tragedy in American history. However, it really capitalizes and really forgets that people were murdered. And I really don't like that. Hey, people were murdered. People were murdered. Salem is great, guys. It's a great place to go. It probably is really, really great if you're a big Hocus Pocus fan. I love Hocus Pocus. I love the little witch ladies. It's really great there and all, but I really have a problem with the way that they capitalize on the witch trials. everywhere is based on witches. And I know when I went there, the locals are sick of it. So this is why I gave it a 3 out of 10. But if you want to the score, for the witch score, you score here. Witch score is an 11 out of 10. Because when I tell you there's witch stuff everywhere, it's literally on every corner of everything. What are we doing? I mean, I get it, but give them a rest. Let them rest. Let my girl Bridget breathe. And stop bringing up her fake apple orchard. It wasn't there.
Howdy. Okay, this is hotel number 4 out of 5. 4. And this is the Stanley Hotel. It is in Essex Park. We're back in Colorado, guys. We're back. Woo! So, fun little fact. This is the home of the Estes method, which ghost class you know, but if you're not in ghost class and you don't know, this is where you put on headphones and you use a spirit box and you're blindfolded and you hear, and then the ghost talks you through the spirit box. Thank you, Stanley Hotel. So it's around 14,000 square foot, and it was originally, land of Native American tribes until a Earl of Craig Dunraven came in 1872, and he was like, oh my god, it's so cool here, when are we going to take it over? And he did. He made it his own private hunting ground. That's not cool. Hey, don't take people's land. Anyway, the hotel story officially starts in 1903, where Freeland Oscar Stanley, pictured here, arrived in the valley, because this is directly in the valley. He arrived in the valley, he was starving, he was dying, he was suffering, if you will. And it was consumption, so we're always gonna die. And then he stayed in Colorado for an entire season, and he was magically cured. Hell yeah, Colorado. And he was like, I need to come here every single summer so I can thrive. So he did. He returned every summer, and his wife, Flora, was like, girl, if I'm coming, I need to have a nice place to stay. And if I don't have a nice place to stay, that means my friends will come, and I'll be lonely. Girl, don't want to be lonely. So he built her a big hotel. Get you a man who's going to build you a big hotel so you can bring all your rich friends, because guess what? It was only for rich people. It officially opened in 1909. It had electricity, telephones, ensuite bathrooms, service, and its own automobile, which was crazy at the time, just showing how rich this place was. By 1917, it literally created a town by this point. At 1917, it had water and a power plant and civil organization, so it literally built a town. A town was built around a hotel. However, by 1970, the beauty had faded. People didn't come here anymore. They were like, this place kind of sucks. And it just looked dirty. Then, guess who showed up? Stephen King, the guy who wrote The Shining. He's not on here. His book is, which inspired the movie. He's not pictured on here because I'm scared of him. And I mean it. If you have free time right now, take out your phone and Google a picture of Stephen King, and you'll understand my undying fear of that man. I'm so scared of him. There should be a horror movie written about him. Also, he writes women badly. Get him out of my sight. I don't like him. He scares me. But anyway, he basically revived the Stanley. This is a picture of Stephen King. Jump scare, trigger warning. He gave it after showing it. What are you going to sue me? Don't get away. Do not. So Stephen King shows up, and he basically shows up, and he was traveling for a weekend giveaway, and accidentally stumbled upon the Stanley on the last day it was open for the season. So everyone was leaving and they were alone, which is the same plot for The Shining. Oh, spoilers if you haven't seen The Shining, even though it's been like a million years since it came out. You get the freaking time. 1970, right? Stephen King shows up, and he's with his wife, being like, hey, we're looking for a weekend getaway. We stumble upon the Stanley, and it's right about to close for the season, which means it's completely empty, and they were alone. So he apparently had a nightmare of a fire hose chasing his son through the hotel. And then he woke up and he was like, I need to write The Shining. Which, if you've seen that movie, 10 out of 10, great. I love that movie. If you don't like that movie, you're a hater. But before 1970, there was a lot of crazy experiences. So we're going back in time. Time travel with me, all. To 1911. So in 1911, there was a flood, so the power went out for the first time at the hotel. So Stanley was like, hey, I'm going to install gas lanterns in each room, so if that does happen again, they have power. So our lovely chambermaid, Miss Elizabeth Wilson, this is not a photo of her, just kind of what she would have looked like at the time. She entered a room with a lit candle, and there was such a buildup of gas in the room that she literally opened the door and the whole room exploded. Like an actual, I don't know if you can see this, but this is an explosion. It's not of the room, but you get the idea. It exploded. And she lived, contrary to tape. That's another thing that people lie about. She lived and actually worked at the hotel until 1950. Don't lie on my girl, Elizabeth. She's strong. Which was, that's kind of crazy. They do say her ghost haunts 211 and will tidy up the room for guests, which is really sweet of her. I appreciate her working in the afterlife, but girl, retire, take a break, because you've been through so much. I support you. Anyway, so apparently, Elizabeth's ghost does haunt room 217 and will tidy up the room. It's great, and I appreciate you, Miss Elizabeth. So Stanley died in 1940 at 91, but people still say that he is still around and he haunts the billiard room, and he's not the only one who stayed around. His beautiful, lovely wife, Flora, fantastic name, by the way, it is said that she haunts the hotel and plays the piano for people. So that's really cute. That is so cute. I love them. I love them. They also say that there's a little girl who haunts the hotel, and you can hear her laughing, which that would scare the ever-living crap out of me if I heard a disembodied girl laughing. Hey, remember back to that other video when I said the boy was cowering in the corner because he heard a baby crying? That's me. So there's also a ghost dog named Cassie, who's a golden retriever who delivers the newspaper, and she still does in the afterlife. She delivers the newspaper and scratches on doors to the side, which leads me to another thing. There's an on-site pet cemetery. Why do you have a pet cemetery on a freaking hotel? If I buried my pet at a hotel, I don't think I'm well. There's also a large cave system, due to it apparently being unprofessional to see the staff. So they would use like the cave systems to get around and pop up and do their thing and then pop back down. It is said to be haunted by a pastry chef, because there is a smell of baked goods constantly reported from the cave system, which again, slay. Like, that's so cool. People say the Stanley is scary, but so far everyone seems to be kind of chilling. Everyone seems kind of chilling. And hey, sounds nice to me. Sounds like 10 out of 10 service. I say that, and then I get to this. So hey, this will be funny. The next room is the scariest room. So everything I just said was a lie. So there's also room 401 specifically. Remember how I said things aren't creepy? I lied. Things are creepy. This is actually supposedly the scariest room, especially if you're a woman, just like society. You're constantly haunted haunted by an unfriendly male ghost that will inappropriately touch women, specifically if they go into the closet. So, huh? 7 minutes in heaven? I won't spend 7 minutes in heaven with the room 407 ghost. Hey. He kisses women. Anyways. No, you're so real. That's staying in. It's on the flipper. Okay, so, yeah, so room 401 is the creepiest room. It's haunted by an unfriendly male ghost that inappropriately touches women while they're in the closet. Why you're going into a closet, I don't know, but also don't be a creep. Hey, ghost, notice how everyone else in the room is chilling and you're being a creep? I am going to need you to please stop. Thank you. So then we go into room 407. I really hope I do a crazy cool edit thing right here, where I just put on some cool country music, because that'd be really funny. If I could find the editing music for like the Pedro Pascal edit, I hope I can do that. Hey, editing me, reminder, do that. So room 407 is, I'm actually such a liar, it's not room 407. All of that was real. Actually, the next one, I got too excited. It was 428 when Mr. Cowboy comes in. Anyway, moving on. Don't worry about it.
He's a liar.
I just get excited when there's a cowboy, you know.
I
I really can't. He's sitting right there looking at me. He's literally looking at the complete opposite. Okay, so to get away from the scary men, because men exist and that's just troubling in its own, there's room 407, which, going back to the wholesome and great thing, apparently there is a ghost that tucks people into bed. That's so cute. And then they sit on the foot of the bed. That's not as cute. That's actually kind of scary. Would you want to be looked at? Okay. So some people like to be stared at while they sleep. It's like a little guardian angel. That's really cute. I'd be really freaked out, me personally. But being tucked in bed is cute. You can tuck me in bed all night long. But don't stare at me while I sleep. Huh? I don't know, it's not known. But you know. I think it's a mom.
I think it's creepy. I think she's coming in bed and she's looking and be like, my past so beautiful.
It's my kiss. If you were to give me a forehead kiss as a ghost, you want a little forehead kiss from me?
I don't know you like that.
What is this little good night?
I don't know like that. People fall in love with anyone who gives me a forehead kiss. So like, with ghosts that I don't even know, it's dangerous.
I fall in love with a ghost.
That is consent.
I fell in love with this ghost.
Consent.
It's a cowboy!
Consent.
This is gonna be so good. God. Okay. So now we're on to my favorite room, and quite honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you. This is the whole reason why I did this project, was so I could talk about this room. This is room 428, the cowboy ghost. The cowboy ghost. Let me say it one more time. The cowboy ghost. Hey. So, I looked at him for a little bit too long and got a little nervous. So there's a cowboy ghost, and yes, I did use a picture of Pedro Pascal. Why did I use a picture of Pedro Pascal? Because I can, and it's my project. Also, there was no picture of said cowboy that haunts the room because no one knows who it is. So I, in my head canon, if you will, he looks like Pedro Pascal. So, cool. So apparently a cowboy ghost looms over the bed as people sleep, or he'll stand in the corner. And people hear furniture and footsteps moving around in the ceiling, even though there's no room above them, so they think the cowboy is doing it. So I want you to close your eyes and imagine the cowboy walking upside down on the ceiling. Bonus points to look like Peter Pascal. Is that not the funniest thing you've ever seen in your whole life? So no cowboy died in this room. But it is possibly believed to be James Nugget, also known as Rocky Mountain Jim, which those names have no correlation with each other. How you do that, I don't know. Also your last name is Nugget. That's crazy. But yeah, so people are kind of scared of this room, but honestly, if you give me a choice, I'm choosing the cowboy room out of any other room in this building. And I stand on that statement. So one of the other scariest parts of this hotel is actually the stairs, because it's called a vortex. Now, my friends, this picture is a little bit hard to see, but you have to trust me when I say this hotel has so many mirrors in the stairs. It's actually insane. So across each side of the stairs, it's a double staircase, so like, two go up and one go down. On the sides of the two go up, there's at least 1 million mirrors that face each other. So if you don't know much about ghost type things, mirrors facing each other tend to be a portal into another world where they can enter and exit out of. So that I feel like that adds to the scary vibe of this is terrifying. And a lot of people are really afraid of it, because a lot of people feel really sick on the stairs, like don't be going down the stairs. People are passed out on the stairs, and ghosts have been seen on the staircase. In this picture right here, there's a picture of a lady in a dress. It's really hard to see in these pictures, but apparently she's there. I don't know, right up here in this corner. So it's also been seen to see Mr. and Mrs. Stanley walking down the hotel stairs holding hands, which is so cute. Look at these two. Imagine them holding hands. I love romance in the freaking afterlife. But because it's a vortex, people often think that a lot of the spirits are drawn to the Stanley, not because it's inherently a bad place, but because it is a vortex and it does carry things. If you watch some of the Ghost Adventure stuff, people like Ghost Hunters on YouTube, a lot of them came here, I think specifically Sam and Colby came, and they encountered ghosts from completely different places that didn't really have anything to do with this family, and then they chopped it up to it being a vortex. Whether it is actually a vortex or not, I don't know, but I do know this is more possible than Fort Fires calling a freaking vortex. At freaking Hawthorne Hotel, I'm talking to y'all. Okay? Anyway, another reason why this hotel might be so haunted or have such a scary vibe is because a lot of people went over to Colorado to heal their tuberculosis. As mentioned before, in other places with Colorado, it had a lot of healing properties, and Mr. Stanley himself also believed it had healing qualities. Now, whether it actually was healing or not, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a girl. I don't know, okay? But according to these people, it did. And that makes you feel that if that cures your tuberculosis, whatever floats your freaking boat. So, I give this place a ghost score of 6 out of 10 because a lot of the times on the Stanley website, they do offer ghost tours and they actively say, hey, we are haunted. That's great. I actually went there when I was a little kid. Once again, I have a weird childhood. I did, in fact, stay here. I did experience things. I saw a water faucet turn off and on, like a hand turned the faucet, and I fought with it because I was a kid, and it angered me. Because I saw that I turned it off and turned it back on. I didn't appreciate that. But what I did appreciate was I stayed in a room, I don't know what room, but I woke up in my slippers and boots, which is apparently a common occurrence in the Stanley. I talked to some of the staff there when I did go, and they were like, yep, it's haunted. But it's not scary. And a lot of accounts of people who have worked there constantly say it's not a scary place. Apparently, if you're in the 401, no, it is, especially if you're a woman. I'm just saying, it's an allegory for society. Women are targeted all the time. So overall, this place has a 6 out of 10. Mostly because it does actively promote its ghost, and they're constantly like, hey, come to our ghost tour. They have a lot of ghost tours. They hold seances here. They do a lot of crazy things, but their main focus, this bad boy right here. Because before The Shining really became a thing, this place was dead. It was dead. There was no one showing up. It wasn't busy. Even though it's a beautiful, gorgeous hotel, it was out of date, as stated before. But because of The Shining and because of Stephen King, this place became really popular again, which is fantastic. I feel like this place deserves a lot of credit. But on their website, they're more catering towards Stephen King lovers, aka not me. So for that reason, I made it to where they get a 6 out of 10. Because they do mention ghosts, but 99% of their shtick is freaking Stephen King. And for that, I'm afraid. And for that, I'm scared to go over there. I personally don't want to be chased in a maze with an axe. Oh. Yeah. I'm going to give you the same warning. This is about to get heated. This man, if you don't, he sucks. And he's a criminal. This is his mugshot. I made sure to print it out. So since he's a criminal, I'm gonna freaking bust some crimes. This is a Batman mask. I don't know if it reads well, but this is a Batman mask. I am Batman. Okay. So, here we go. So this is the Crescent City Hotel. Out of all of these, this is the only hotel I have not gone to. However, I did extensive amounts of research in it. So it was built in 1886 in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. It originally was Native American land, and they discovered that the land had healing properties, and then word got around, and then people took over, and then by 1880, it became a booming town. It was built by Governor Powell Clayton after building a railroad, and hey, guess what happened? It became really popular with rich people. They would all gather here, and everyone loved it. Eventually, it kind of started to lose money a little bit due to this time, and by 1902, they actually did a great turnaround, and hey, it became a freaking women's college. Feminism. So that's great and all. Until 1934, it became a hospital. So this is where things are going to get really heated, specifically because of this guy. So 1931, Roman Baker bought the hotel, and he was a radio broadcaster and a magician. That's a crazy combination, but you know, and he took those two professions and did nothing with them and turned this into a hospital. And he called it the Baker Cancer Clinic, which this is an ad for it up here. And he claimed that he had the cure for cancer. Now we live in the 21st century, and we know that doesn't exist. So this place was entirely a scam, and he knew that. And he preyed upon people who were suffering, preyed upon them and their families, and made sure to steal their money. So he claimed that he had the cure for cancer. If you look at this ad, this is an ad. I'm just going to read this out to you. And just to really put in perspective how freaking crazy this guy was. So, it says, where the sick folks get well, Baker Hospital, we cure cancers, not tumors, without operation, without radio or x-ray. Every room has a connecting bathroom. We treat all ailments, and we do not cut out any organs. You're going to find out later that was a lie. That was a lie. A lie. He's a liar and a coward. So he promoted himself on TV shows and radio stations, claiming the Crescent was a castle in the air, saying he could heal cancer without doing any type of surgery whatsoever. Again, that's not true. This is all a lie, and he had no credibility whatsoever in the medical world. His concoction of a cure was just random things. It actually included watermelon seeds. It was a bunch of random things, including watermelon seeds, and they would inject into and say, your cancer's cured. It wasn't. It was not. Obviously. So the medical community often tried to get him kicked out. It didn't work. The only thing that they were able to fully catch him on was in 1940, and he was arrested for mail fraud, which put an end to his whole career. As you can see, this is his mugshot, aka Norman Baker, arrested version, the right version. This guy sucks. He also claimed that the American Medical Association tried to assassinate him. They didn't. They would just actively talk out against him, which then he would go on his radio show and go on the most insane rants you've ever heard of, claiming that they're crazy, they're this, they're that, when it was actually all him. So patients who came were promised that if their cancer wasn't gone within 6 weeks, they could return for more treatment free of charge. Medical examinations at the hospital consisted of pinching and just looking at patients. Like they would just walk and just, wow, you're really struggling today, aren't you? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There weren't any microscopes on the building at all. Like there was none found on the building. He was constantly trying to stop. He actually went to jail for 1 day for no medical license, and then that didn't work. Eventually, the mail fraud got him. He lost his broadcast license and just moved to Mexico, and then just got more listeners. So he's in Mexico promoting this scam. Are you kidding me? Eventually, he was arrested for mail fraud, as mentioned before, and this was because he was caught for posting the materials for the cure, like being like, oh look, contact facility, blah, 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 blah. Things like this. This got him caught. He served for 4 years, and then he was allowed to retire to Florida. And that sucks. That really sucks. So, do you remember when I said they, and I quote, we do not cut out any organs. Remember when I said that was a lie? This is it being a lie. Bottles, hundreds of them, pictured here, were found buried on the property, and this was like skin tissue and other unknown things. Like somebody, they don't know what they are. They don't know what they are. They were found in a hole in the property, buried around the time that he was in charge of this hospital. Okay, so almost every one of his patients died on the property. He cut off a part of a man's skull in front. Just a little FYI, that's not normal. Okay. He charged patients $1,000 per treatment. And injections of his crazy concoction of a formula happened 4 times a day, every day except Sunday. 44 patients died during the 20-month operation. Patients were never autopsied because they died by cancer. So the formula he was injecting in contained carbolic acid, which would cause organ failure. It was also used by Nazis. Just to really show how bad this man was, these people died, and they immediately thought, oh, it was because of cancer. They had done an autopsy, they would have found, it actually wasn't. This guy's actually a huge freaking scammer. He eventually died of liver cancer, which, karma, that's what you get for scanning millions of people who have cancer. That's just sucks. So that's basically the history, the very dark history behind this hotel. I'll get into the ghosts now. So in room 218, there was a stonemason who fell to his death. He is said to still haunt that room. There's going to be a very consistent theme of people falling to their death at this hotel in different places, in complete different places, but it's a consistent theme that they really should look at. It's almost as bad as the Hawthorne having 4 fires. Hey, hotels. Hey, hotels, get it together. So there is also Theodora, who it's unknown if she was a appendicitis. He is often seen bouncing a ball. There's also Dr. John Fremont Ellis, who was the doctor at the time and accomplice at the time. And he is seen walking around. You can smell his cherry pipe tobacco, specifically in room 212. I feel like that would taste really gross. I would smoke. I don't know what any of that tastes like. But I feel like cherry flavored tobacco is not it. You know what also isn't it? Scamming people. There's also Morris, a ghost cat buried on the site. He's seen walking around. I love ghost animals. That's such a freaking slay. There also apparently at one point was a young woman who fell or left, we're not sure, to her death from the hotel balcony. Also in 2017, so there's recent deaths here. A guest walked out of the bar. He walked out of the bar and fell over a staircase railing 4 stories to his death. So don't drink and walk, friends. There's a lot going on at this hotel, obviously. It's history, it's ghosts, people falling constantly. There also is apparently the 3rd floor annex. It is claimed to be a portal to the other side, and a lot of guests pass out there. Which is very similar to the Stanley having a vortex and people passing out also there. There's also a morgue in the basement. So this was a hospital. As mentioned before, tons of people died. So they had to find a place for the bodies, aka hotel basement. Similar to the Hotel Colorado. Hotel basement equals morgue. And that is actually really weird. And it's apparently really, really haunted. They see a lot of shadow figures in there, and it's apparently claimed that something really bad lives there. Which also leads me back to these bottles. So these bottles were dug up on the property. The hotel people decided to keep them and display them in the morgue. I find that really crazy and really weird, along with the other, just the way that they describe their ghost stuff at this hotel. I have a really big problem with this hotel and the way that they advertise themselves. So I give them a 10 out of 10 ghost score, but here's my issue. You actively do this really weird thing where you're constantly promoting these ghosts, but you don't find a name for them, and that's really not cool. A lot of the other ghosts that we've talked about that either have a name or if they're not known, I understand not knowing the name of every single ghost that haunts your hotel, but maybe attempt, maybe try. A lot of it, but they don't even know if Theodora is a patient or a nurse. I understand a lot of the files may have been burned or taken or destroyed after the hospital thing, but it's not fair to the people who died. I don't think you guys do it on purpose, but I feel like you push them to the side and fully use them as a ghost attraction. There's a fine line between promoting your ghosts and using them as just pawns for money. If I was a ghost, me personally, and my body parts were on display for people to watch and go, oh, I wonder what that is, I'd be pissed. In that same basement, in that morgue, is a picture of the very man who caused them to die there. I feel like you need to rework your ghostly things. This is the said morgue of everything that I talked about. It's really dark, it's really, really gross. This is the picture of that man right there. That's a picture of it's a very bad picture, but it is. I just find it almost disrespectful to a point where, have a little bit more respect, especially in a place that holds so much tragedy. That's my gripe with this hotel. That's why I get a 10 out of 10 ghost score, but have some respect for your day. Thank you very much. That's the end of this one. So this is the conclusion of my ghost tour about hotels. Before I fully close it out, I want to talk about a lot of common themes that are shown without these hotels, which I find to be really interesting, especially from a ghost hunting and ghost aspect. Something you see a lot is that these hotels are made for the rich, so it's fully full of rich people, and these rich people, their ghosts are well known. or if they're not well known, they at least have names. And if you notice, a lot of them, like Flora, they are doing something that's fun. They're doing something that they enjoy, and that, you know, it's leisurely. They get to relax. It's nothing, you know, really crazy or really violent or anything that's, you know, not good. But if you look at other ghosts who were not the rich, who were not the famous, who weren't anyone like that, they're often either not named or they're just continuing their job. Such as Elizabeth. She died not even on the premises, but she is apparently said to haunt and keep continuing doing her job. I find it to be a really weird thing that is consistently happening, where it's almost like you can't even rest in the afterlife if you don't have a lot of money, if you don't have a lot of wealth. These places, they're built for the rich to rest. They're built for the rich to rest. They're built for the rich to enjoy themselves. Places like the Hawthorne Hotel, their ghosts are well known. The tragedy that happened there is well known. We know a lot about the people they died, how they died, where they might have lived. However, they're constantly exploited in the afterlife. Bridget Bishop, for example, she died because of a lie. She died because she was accused of witchcraft. Now, in the afterlife, she can't even rest easy because she's said to haunt the Hawthorne, which isn't true. She has no affiliation with the Hawthorne. Her haunting is built on a lie. She cannot even rest in peace due to these lies. Then we have places like the Crescent Hotel. The Crescent Hotel, for example, is another place where a tragedy happens. Many people die. However, instead of us knowing a lot about them, we know nothing. And they're still exploited. They're still restless spirits. They're still being used in the afterlife, just like how they were used by Normans to get money from. There's a constant cycle of abusing those who are, you know, struggling or who have been through a great tragedy, and even in death, their ghost is either reliving the tragedy, you know, struggling or just suffering over and over and over again, or whether it was a tragedy or not, they were a working class person, they're constantly working. They're not resting. However, the rich ghost, the ghost of the, you know, people who have more money, who didn't necessarily go through a major tragedy, who were just chilling, they get to chill in the freaking afterlife. I just find that to be a really interesting common theme, especially with hotel ghosts. So this is officially the end of my ghost tour. Thank you so much for watching me go through a bunch of different props and ramble on about any sort of hotel. Thank you. Goodbye.